Gary V, you are an all-knowing guru. You can advise us on business. You can advise us on life. You're an entrepreneur, motivational speaker. Like seriously, the list goes on.
This means everything.
Procrastination.
Yes.
Okay. It is the bane of our lives sometimes. Can you tell us how we can tackle this habit?
Yeah, I think when I think about procrastination, really what's happening is people are telling that they're actually scared of failing in front of others. Most people procrastinate because of one of two things. One, fear. And fear is just the thing that I most want to combat in the world. They're actually genuinely worried that if they do this thing and it doesn't go well, their mother, their aunt, their best friend, their sister, their coworker is gonna cast judgment on them, and they're basically living their lives based on someone else's opinion.
Within companies, some people have that mindset where they enter and they want to skip several levels in their career trajectory and they just want to be CEO straight away.
Look, I think what you're referring to is entitlement. And so I think entitlement is bad.
Yeah.
I see it. There is a lack of patience. People want to get promoted much quicker today than they did 20 years ago.
100%.
But I don't judge Gen Z for that. A lot of people are like, oh, Gen Z. The world is faster.
Yeah.
Everything's faster.
Yeah.
And so I don't judge it, but I do understand it to be a very big vulnerability.
Is entrepreneurship for everyone?
A lot of people like to talk about, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm capable, I can do it, but they are talking. In real life, when they only talk to themselves, they realize they don't want that pressure. They don't want that work ethic. They don't want that pain.
How many hours do you work per day?
Probably in the ballpark of 10 to 15.
Okay.
You know, and that's probably down a little bit from pre-COVID.
Okay.
But for me, it's a little bit different. I'm in a very small group of people who love what they do so much. It's like their hobby. To build a company, if you're the leader on an 8-hour workday, it's very hard.
What attracted you to come to the Middle East?
I think as an entrepreneur and as a businessman, even 20 years ago, it was clear that Dubai and the overall region was starting to progress on innovation and entrepreneurship and things of that nature. And, you know, Dubai, Saudi, Egypt, it's just very, very clear what's happening. And so for me, my goal with my communications company, VaynerX, VaynerMedia, is to be in every part of the world.
It's like we're coming in with a strong comeback, you know?
100%. Plus the youth in general, like the under 35 population across the region is profound, progressive, tech savvy, social savvy. I mean, that's where the world is and that's where the world's going. And so just the vibrance, the offensive nature.
What is the best industry to invest in the Middle East?
For everyone who's watching, the number one thing to invest in is things you understand. You know, so a lot of people, I mean, that's probably the biggest question I get. Gary, where do I put my money? I'm like, in something you understand. So like if you're a fashion enthusiast and you really love it, well then go spend a couple extra hours looking at the finances and the business realities of your 3 or 4 favorite brands. And maybe for you, the best thing to do is buy LVMH stock because you understand it. The other thing to look out for is if you're doing early stage, forget about the industry, invest in the person. 1, 2, 3, shoot. 1, 2, 3, shoot. Yeah!
As an angel investor, are you concerned in the future of investing into startups in the light of the Silicon Valley Bank collapse?
Am I concerned? Not per se, because I actually think that what we will see coming out of this is less money being thrown at things that aren't viable businesses. In a weird way, I'm less concerned, not more concerned. Because I think what a lot of money and financing does is it hides a lot of vulnerabilities of a startup. And that a lot of startups weren't built on actually building a business, but by becoming financial engineering companies. All they ever do is raise capital. And so I think with less capital or more expensive capital, it's going to force businesses to be real businesses.
My last question to you, is Chat GPT going to replace me?
I don't think so. As a writer, I think what's going to happen is it's going to actually enhance you.
Okay.
So what people are missing with artificial intelligence is it takes the commodity and makes it more efficient.
So we go hand in hand.
I think you go hand in hand because the critical thinking that you need to input into an AI software is actually the most interesting part.
That is actually very reassuring.
I'm glad.
Thank you, Gary.
Thanks for having me.
It was lovely having you here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.